get started. Welcome to March 18th, 2022, my last Friday forum from the East Coast. I take off on Monday, heading for Austin. So things are hectic behind me. Kicking off right at the top. So Sonia Manning and Jen Palandro, excited to announce, have both accepted their offers as Chief of Staff for Casey and Copywriting Manager, respectively. Very excited to see the team continue to grow with awesome people, and there'll be more details on these two coming soon. Casey was appointed this week. This is really exciting. She was appointed as a lecturer in the School of Engineering at Stanford. She'll be co-leading a seminar on food design and technology. She'll get to lecture about levels. She'll get to allow her students to try levels and I'm sure write reports on it and so on. And so this is really exciting. This is her alma mater, and very cool to see. This week, engineering resolved some significant app performance issues. Justin, in particular, shout out for figuring out some hangups that were driving 5 to 10 second load times for many of us. General lag across many surfaces really opened up the app this week. There was, just some baggage that had built over the last few months in terms of performance, and this is just super huge for making this app easy to test for all of us. And then on that note, the Now page v0.5 launched internally this week. We also launched Darkly, which is a user testing app that allows us to try this with cohorts, and then a new dog fooding process. Dog fooding being the means with which we try the member experience, even though we're on the inside. So all of the above, everyone please get involved. I know that sometimes if we're not wearing CGMs or we're not a new member, trying a new feature does not feel super organic, but we all need to go through the process like we're brand new to this experience and provide feedback accordingly. So please use the dog fooding process so we can both improve that and improve the app. Upward trend in weekly active user logging, NPS up to 63. So we've now had 6 straight weeks of strong NPS maintenance and or growth. And then the TruePill Hayward site for fulfillment had its best week in months. This is always great to hear. The TruePill Brooklyn site has been outperforming Hayward for a long time. And I think we're seeing some good directional stuff from the West Coast there. We're exploring new member and non-member feedback tools, including authentics and user testing. The goals here are to not just test or not just receive feedback from members, but also as we start to consider expansion internationally, expansion into new markets that we haven't yet gotten into, these tools can be used to recruit feedback from people who are potential members or who fit certain demographic criteria. We'll also, with Authentics, be looking to do more video and or audio feedback, which, in even considering how we work, we tend to appreciate these less onerous tools to get our thoughts out. We need to provide the same opportunities for our members. It's a lot easier to record a 15-second audio clip than it is to write your thoughts down in long form in an email you're going to send to a company. So continuing to experiment there. And we got raw data from cohort 1 of the paradoxical glucose rise study. So Ben Bickman is conducting this study at BYU. This is the first of 2 cohorts, so it's still underway, but really cool to see some of this initial data come through. TBD on results, meaning we're not entirely sure what the outcomes are just yet, but this cohort is using levels to pull in continuous glucose data while in a low carb state. And the intention is to understand, why do certain people have paradoxical rise? Why do their fasting glucose averages actually increase? Their post-meal results can sometimes increase in terms of averages, maybe not as spiky, but overall elevations. It's counterintuitive to what you would expect, and we're trying to figure out what's happening hormonally behind the scenes for these types of people, me being one of them. We had some new coverage in New York Times. The artificial intelligence nutritionists are coming. Lauren and Helena were on Women in Tech podcast by Esprit Devora. Jana Breslin has joined as our newest affiliate. Nick Baer is trying levels, a fellow Austinite, soon to be. You can see Sam, Miz, and I recorded a conversation about the company is the product to try and explain why we invest so heavily in culture here. We got some really great responses from friends and family this past few months as we continue to improve our team size and growth and rate. And this one in particular, I wanted to highlight from Sandra Daniels at Thumbtack, just saying you're building a legendary company. The numbers on subscription, for example, are just incredible. A lot of good indicators. And then we got some beautiful mocks for next stages of the Now page. I believe that's the gist of it. Also some great whole new level recordings this week. With that, I want to welcome Andrew East. Andrew is on the call with us today. He's a retired NFL player. He is married to Olympic gold medalist Shawn Johnson, which I recall watching her performances and just blown away by her athletic ability. The two of them have both tried levels, have experienced what we're building, really, I think, buy into the future of metabolic health, and are both professionally building several companies, including investment arms. And Andrew, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Appreciate you supporting Levels. We'd love to hear your thoughts as an athlete, as a family man, on the future of health, Levels, your thesis around fun technology stuff, anything that you're interested in sharing.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. What up, Levels people, the squad? Good to see you. This is fun. I don't think I've seen a Zoom chat as positive and excited as this one. So just glad to be here. But yeah, we've been using Levels probably for 6 or 7 months now. Got connected through Andreessen Horowitz and the team over there. And I'd never heard of a continuous glucose monitor before. But as soon as I grasped the concept, I was immediately interested. And so Shawn and I tried it out. And as with everything in our relationship, it has become a competition. And so we wear ours. We have the monthly subscription and love it. I have mine on right now. And so I'm a big believer in tracking in order to improve. And so that for me was an incredible benefit of what Levels can do, where, before, when I was trying to track my nutrition and dial it in, it was super hard for me to understand like how whatever app out there could tell me you need to eat X amount of carbs without me actually experiencing how bad those carbs made me feel. And so this is the perfect bridge to like, hey, this is information and how your body digests a food. And so here's how we can actually process that information and make you feel your best or help you achieve your goals. And so I use it for the tracking purposes. And it's also it's just been so fun to kind of hone in the different parts of my diet, as well as see some interesting insight. And Sam and I had talked about this, but doing certain activities that, are super stressful and seeing the effect that has on my readings, I just find so fascinating. And it's been fun to kind of spread the gospel of Levels and also get involved on an investor capacity too. But I think as Josh was just talking about, what I really am bought into with the Levels concept is, yes, the technology and what you're building, but also the team is so fascinating to me and impressive. So I really am just honored to be here. And Josh, I don't know if you wanted me to just continue rambling, but I'm happy to do that or answer any questions more specifically.
The ramble is what we're here for. We just like to hear the organic, the organic uncut thoughts. So yeah, I mean, anything in particular that you're excited for in terms of the trajectory of Levels, what you hope to see it accomplish in the near future that, you've bumped up against, or that Shawn has come up against during your use, that would be awesome. Or just generally, if you want to leave some closing thoughts. I know you're busy and, we've got a long meeting here. We'd love to have you join for the rest of it as well.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's another Jaguars player on here. Who is that? Who's Matt F? He played
Matt Flanagan.
Let's go.
Yeah. Matt, are you on the call?
Right.
He's joining us right now.
And then, yeah, so I think if you look towards the future, again, Sam and I talked about this, but multi-molecule tracking, I just think this is, you look at the US healthcare system, we live in Nashville and healthcare is massive business. There's obviously so much that can be improved upon, but getting real-time data, not only in glucose, but on other molecules too, I think could just really change society for the better. So, the business aspect is there because there's a massive need, but it's also like, there's a massive need because I think there's just a gap in and how we function as humans. And so like to have this data on my phone where I can just pop up and see, holy smokes, my blood sugar is at 140 and I'm about to crash. It's good from a physical standpoint and figuring that out, but also, like, I don't know if anybody else is married out there, but Sean and I often argue when we're hungry, or tired, or ate the wrong thing. And so like it actually does provide you with this vocabulary and structure for knowing like, wow, hey babe, I just ate a whole pack of Sour Patch Kids, buckle up because I'm about to be angry. So I think there's so many derivative benefits of this as well, and I'm super excited, talking to my friends who are in the healthcare space, and do a lot more than I do. Just hearing their thoughts on how this could potentially be like a tool that health insurance companies use as almost like an incentive based, hey, you kept your metabolic score even. And it's just exciting. Like what I feel like I'm gonna look back on this call 5 years from now and brag to my kids like, yeah, levels that everyone is using, I was on their Friday forum with them. So I'm a big deal. But
I love it. Yeah, I mean, so much exciting opportunity in the future, just demonstrating closed feedback loops and how it affects people differently when this is happening to me right now. It's not an idea that's out there, averaged across everybody. And that's step one with glucose. The future is many, many more of those feedback loops and helping us to flourish, not only physically, but also emotionally. Like you said, you can do a lot better in our day-to-day relationships if we know what we're doing to ourselves physically, and that's driving those outcomes, those feelings. So love that. Really appreciate your thoughts. This is great. Super excited to have you as a supporter, as part of the investor crew, and looking forward to a long and successful future ahead. Lots of challenges, but we appreciate the support.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
100%. Yeah, please feel free to hang out if you have time. If not, thanks for joining. All right, jumping ahead to a quick culture and kudos. We've got Azar and Casey in Bend, Oregon. Casey has taken up a 1-year occupancy in Bend. TBD how much longer, if it's just going to be a year, but exciting to see the team hanging out. And then Justin, I just wanted to highlight Justin for stepping in and solving those app performance issues I talked about on slide number 1. He just went after it last night, traced down, I think, I don't know enough about what the exact issue was, something to do with our feature flags, but it ended up solving, for me, the launch issue that I've been dealing with for a few weeks that I've been quite frustrated about and not really sure how to express what this like sort of sense that something has been changing and slowing down. I think we all maybe have been feeling this across the chart performance, et cetera. And so this was a huge improvement. And I just appreciate Justin for taking that on late night last night. And obviously points to we're gonna need to create some space for these sorts of recurring performance improvements as we add more features. It's inevitable that these sorts of things slow down, but really cool to see that work pay off real quickly. Thank you, Justin. All right, main thing, level shows you how food affects your health. Everyone should be working towards this priority. Please raise the question if you don't feel that you are. And today, Mr. JM is, I think he's rowing on a boat in Venice with his 2 children, if the most recent image I got to my email is correct. So I'll take the North Star metric slide. So daily food loggers, the 7-day average, 1755. We're up slightly week over week. Obviously not a huge change, but we're not going in the wrong direction, which is good news. All right, over to Scott.
Morning, folks. Next slide. Quick allocation check-in here. The only 2 people that hopped over were Jeremy and Maxine. We're taking a little 1-week detour to do some demographic collection to unblock Helena. So doing birth date, I think biological sex, main interest of why you're here, and how equipped you already feel on the metabolic side. So this will be part of sign up. No mobile app support for now. We just wanted to get a base level of data that we could use to enable in the app. Sort of a technical reason. This is maybe a brief window into the sort of like the HIPAA. We collect sometimes information on behalf of our users, but we're only allowed to use it in certain use cases. So you might think to yourself, we already collect the birth date, but we're not, I think, per HIPAA, able to use that to make product decisions, at least the way that we've been pitching it to our members. So we need to collect it outside of sort of like the existing prescription medical flow in order to be able to use it for product reasons. So concurrent to that, Jeremy is also working on getting specs up to date for the membership subscriptions for the IRB. So a lot of other spec work going on there that's going to enable more on the business enablement side. Next slide. Here's how things break down. Again, mostly the mobile and design work going to the now screen. I think we've got a v0.5 launch pretty imminent. Next slide. David, our release master, continues to do really well, and definitely shout out to the mobile team as well for being able to work within releases going out, even though we need things behind feature flags. I know sometimes it takes a little bit to get our code built in a way that doesn't whack the existing experience, but we have been in the green for the past long while here. So great job, everybody. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. All right, starting off with Moz. Let me make sure my sound is shared.
Quick update this week. We made a lot of progress on the agreements and have been working with both manufacturers to get to a good place. I think the relationship is strong and things are going well, so everything's good on that front. In addition to that, worked with Mike and his great team of writers to write a long form article on membership, which is going through last revisions and should be ready to go out next week. Other than that, everything's going well, and see you next time. Bye. Quick update.
All right, we got John on tagging.
Hey everyone, tagging update here. So we implemented a new change in the way tags are displayed in the logging form. Before we had underlines to differentiate tags from plain text. Since this is a free form text, it required a lot of tricky solutions to make it work right. And it was causing lots of confusion and typing inconsistencies. So we decided to stop playing around with these text transformations and move the detected tags to a separate place while bringing the possibility to inspect tag information if the members tap on them. On the other hand, people keep using suggestions from our food recognition service. From the 2,000 unique users that uploaded a picture in the last few days, 60% of them have gotten valid results. Valid results mean results that come from our food recognition service with a minimum confidence score. And 40% of them have used the suggestions to finally create a log. And finally, from the more than 53,000 food logs read in the last 7 days, we have detected more than 120,000 tags. That's it. Thank you.
Good numbers there. Thank you, John. Oops.
All right, on the Now project, we have shipped out the build that has the initial v0.5 launch, and we are gathering feedback on that first milestone. So this is split between our internal testing. As Josh mentioned, there's a new dog feeding process, which you can access via levels.link/dogfood. We would value your feedback on that. And then we're waiting for the first members to try this out. Mike has been coordinating with about 15 people who've opted in to test it out. And yeah, can't wait to get that feedback on it. Josh, can you quickly go to the next slide? I just wanted to orient us really quickly here on something I showed you last week, which is sort of the high level milestones and how we were approaching this. The green bucket on the left is where we are now with member testing, and it's all of the core stuff on the UI framework that we made changes to, including all the table stakes experiences around food logging that have to work in the new insight forward paradigm. Then what we're working on with the end team development is the middle column on helping members improve week 1 comprehension and answering some of the common questions they have. If you could go back to the next, the previous slide. Oops, sorry, yeah, thanks. So what you see here, I just wanted to drill in on some of those specific, those two first columns. And I'm going to start reporting this into more concrete phases going forward. So right now you can think of this initial release as the first 3 phases. So the team has been working for the last several weeks to get through some of these. We've already launched internally that interaction model, and our members will be starting to use that. We've also already launched the calendar-based journey using existing feed cards. So every day someone's going to come in there and see a bunch of cards on day 1 or day 2, and we'll see if that increases their awareness for the awareness and engagement with the app and helping them understand what to do next. And what we completed this out this week. Steph got the final touch on the core looping that we've been working on, which is porting the old day review into the now experience. So now there's one seamless all full screen experience where you can try out the core levels app and it feels like it works. Phase 4 is the first part of that middle column on the other slide, the first time experiences. So this week we launched a logging and a glucose explainer, which you can try out in the app. They work really well. The first time you hit that logging button, you're going to get context on how does logging work? Why do we get scores? Why do I do this? The first time you tap on a glucose graph explainer, you're going to get context for what the general glucose values mean. And then engineering is starting to work on some other first-time experiences here. Steph has been working on a common questions widget that answers a lot of the first things people have in week 1. And there's also other work queued up on a immersive story explainer for that. Then looking a bit forward, the next step is to get the onboarding experience, smoothed out. This is ready for Eng. So if we have anyone ready to go, we can pick this up. But given that we have a short week next week with the assemblage, I'm targeting this one for a delivery date of 2 weeks from now. And then there's a whole bunch of work that's queued up for the event-based insights, which is really the meat and bones of what to do now and what to do next with what we've been working on. This is all of the zone-based insights that get tagged onto that zone review that you get, the day-based insights as well. Murillo has started working on this with some of the scaffolding with the new zone review. And Andrew has been looking into some of the Eng feasibility on a more robust system for delivering this, but I don't anticipate we'll get anything fully launched until 2 weeks from now, given the assemblage short week next week. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, David. All right, we got Andrew.
Hey everyone, quick engineering update. Our progress continues to be great, both on the recruiting front and on the hiring front. We have a bunch of new candidates that we're excited about, and so if you're part of that hiring rotation, you will meet some of them soon. Again, I would love to give a brief update of things that really stuck out to me for the week of just really exciting things happening inside of engineering. And I'll split it in 2 different places. One is process stuff. We write code and we build product, but at the same time, we're facilitating a process that, gets good people on the team and is maintainable and, these kinds of things. And I want to call out 3 specific instances that kind of demonstrate good process. One is Elena spent a little bit of time improving our data science interview process. I think that's phenomenal. It's something that we want to continue to do a great job selecting for great people. And this was really great. Ian sent out a survey of a library dependency we have of whether or not people like it. And then it came up with a proposal of something that might be better for us. And so this is solving almost like a meta problem. This doesn't pertain to any specific project, but it's something that, is like a leverage or accelerant across the whole organization. And last, I want to point out, when we talk about PR reviews and these kinds of things, how important careful reviews are. And so I noticed this exchange where Jinlu noticed something very subtle where it's oh wait, is this true? And it requires thinking very deeply about code someone else wrote. And I thought this was just really cool of of being very intentional about these kinds of reviews. The other thing I want to highlight is 2 things that were merged this week. One of them is Maxine built a address autocomplete. I have no idea where this came from. Maybe this was a thing I just missed, but this is amazing. This is something that improves the sales process, that the checkout process in a meaningful way, helping us get really accurate data. And at the same time, isn't something that we might prioritize first, in a normal cycle or something like this. So this was really cool to see. Also, Gabriel is putting out a what's new feature inside of the app so people can see updates and things like that, and came up with just a really elegant trade-off between technical complexity and the pragmatics of getting something out. And so I wanted to highlight that. I'm really excited about that. Besides that, I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Great update, Andrew. Thank you.
Hey everyone, quick engineering.
Never getting past this. All right, hiring updates. So Galit and Steven still joining us on March 28th. We've got Caitlin now joining as senior editor on the 11th, Jen Polandro April 18th, and Sonia Manning on April 11th as well. So some great firepower coming in the next few months, few weeks, really. And then on the open roles, obviously we've been able to take a bite out of a few of these. So chief of staff, we can actually strike through. That's my fault. But we still got software engineer, visual designer, corporate counsel, all open. And then we just have generally a talent pool. So if you know someone who would fit the Levels culture and mission, please send them our way. LJ.
Hey everyone, LJ here again, giving you your Athena weekly update. So from the past week, we had 8 active EAs, 19 Levels team members who delegated tasks, and 150 tasks we were able to accomplish. So from the previous report that I gave you, there were only 17 Levels team members who delegated. So we have an additional 2 for this week, and bouncing back from the past report as well, we were only able to accomplish 137 tasks then. So we are currently working on 150 right now. So as you can see, we have a slight movement going up right here. And now let me show you the new delegation for the week, which came from JM. So JM reached out last week for his first delegation to help prepare his report slides for the Friday forum. So even if it's JM's first time delegating to the team, he was very specific with his request. He even provided right here the links to the reports. So this one is the an example slide, the Loom explainer, the link to the Snowflake tool, wherein the EAs will be able to find the specific chart or report that he will present for the Friday forum. So yep, that's it. So just to remind everyone, if you're willing or interested to delegate new tasks or reach out for any assistance from the Athena EAs, so please just email athena@levelshealth.com. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Athena team. Chris.
Thanks, Josh. So as I go through the this week update, if you're asking yourself of why these reports and updates just feel, more bedazzling, is because I'm not following Alan this week. So it's all about, Alan setting the bar and then I'm coming back down. So I was like, wait a minute, there's no design update. This is fabulous. So first off, the SLA dashboard, the only kind of low light this week is our response time of support underneath 1 hour is 33%. So for context, this used to be the target that we used to go after. Like the team was always going to respond within an hour or as kind of as fast as possible. We were as high as I think 87, 88% responding within an hour. And last week we're at 33%. Now the flip side is our happiness was still 93, meaning this metric going from super responsive to kind of taking our foot off the gas had essentially zero impact on our happiness score, which is kind of something we've been experimenting. The reason it fell a little bit is because we had, I think, both Braden and Jesse out. So we just were short staffed, but we still hit our 3 hour marker of 80%, which is really the metric that I'm more focused on. So when I see us fall this much and have no impact, it might say, maybe I stopped tracking this number. It's not moving the needle. And more focused on the 3 hour marker. So while it was a miss, it actually was, in my side, is a great learning as we continue to say, okay, where do these metrics actually make a difference? And where does it start breaking the experience? And so far we have not broken the experience with low numbers on 1 hour. So that's great news on my side and from my standpoint. Next. Everybody loves oatmeal. This was, as I was looking at our traffic to our website or to our blogs, and I was noticing volume going up and going down and going up and going down, I actually drilled down. It's well, what was the main driver of it? So this actually insight is from several weeks ago when the team had the oatmeal alternatives. And you can see on the bottom is the page view spikes when it launched around the 24th of it just had huge volumes and then, back down. And the thing I looked at is this was so far in this year is by far our most popular blog post versus some of these other ones we link to in the onboarding guide. We link to them constantly and they're constantly getting traffic. So this was a great insight in terms of people just loved this content and really resonated with it. So great job, Haney and team. Next. Similarly, as I was looking for on the support standpoint of FAQs, I came across one that jumped up to the list of how many people are actually clicking on our setup So in the article where I say, hey, step 1, and then step 2, and then step 3 and 4, thinking of it as like a waterfall funnel, I would imagine these like start high and then slow drop off. But when I actually pulled the numbers per each of these steps, what I found was it was all over the map. So, 723 people started it, or kind of views. 91% of those got to step 2. Only 17% got to step 3, and 26 got to step 4. The numbers on the far right in colors are the effectiveness, or what we call the helpfulness. So the activate and scanning your CGM, where only 26% of people are seeing that, and a 40% kind of happiness, is a real red flag of people are struggling with the activation, the scanning of the CGM, which resonates with that we have such a large percentage of our member base that we never see glucose data for. Like either they get to this point and be like, you know what, this is just much harder than I expected, this 2-app experience, or I don't get it, and they start just kind of dropping off. So this, as David talks about, kind of moving a lot of the onboarding into the product, hopefully this can kind of really help engage people and make it easier and remind them the importance of doing this and kind of getting that data into the app. Next slide. Member income and affordability. This was something in the Friday Forum Maz reported on a while ago, kind of at an aggregate level. We have enough data to actually kind of break it out of the, so what you're looking at is the gray bars are percent of our member base that reported what income bracket they're in, less than 50K, 50 to 75, and so on. So 50% of the people who responded make over 150K or more. And 57% if I really remove the preferred not to answer cohort. So that's roughly 3 times the size of the national average. And then the green bar is of that cohort, what percent of them say the $99 CGM prevents me from buying more? The average was 56% for the group. And it makes sense as people have more money, that number comes down a little bit. But even the groups that make over 150K, roughly still 50% of them say the $199 price mark is too expensive. So, and really high, you get into the median average of like, 50K, it's, north of 70% of people. So we'll continue to track this, but just we had enough to kind of do a fuller read on it versus just the high level. Next slide. And then lastly, the voice of the member, I've got this one is Sunny actually sent me the email on the left with a 5-minute Loom recording, which I just recently posted to the Voice of the Member forum, if you actually kind of want to watch it. And the experience, what was happening was there was a member who was signing up for levels and also wanted to sign up his mother. So he was trying to sign up for 2 accounts with 2 different emails, ran into issues, had to drive to her house to get her selfie photo. So every time he did it, either uploaded the photo wrong or back, ended up creating multiple accounts, asked for some of them to get refunded. We deleted the wrong one, wanted to know why he's charged twice. So the 5-minute Loom really just gave me a good understanding of, for people that are trying to help a loved one get on as well, like this can be really a hard thing from kind of the account setup. It's hard enough, just individually to do it. But now if you're actually trying to get your mother, your wife, your girlfriend, who maybe is less technical savvy, and kind of walk them through the process, it can also be confusing to us around, we see multiple accounts, which one are you using, which account do you want refunded? So I think over time, as people become real big fans of levels, they would say, oh, this is great for me, but I really want my mom to use it. I really want my dad to use it. I really want my wife to use it. And when they're trying to get people on board and signing up on their behalf, can really be confusing for us on a support standpoint around what exactly are they trying to do. So I encourage you guys to kind of watch the Loom in the Voice of Member support for kind of the full kind of recap of kind of what happened. And that's it for member experience.
These updates keep getting more comprehensive, and I love it. There's a lot wrapped up into that, but it all falls under member experience for sure. Thank you, Chris and team. All right, we got Ben remote.
All right, here we go. Growth update. We're going to pull out this slide because everyone's working on value through membership. It's what's going to get us to product market fit. So given how many things are going on and how many different partnership initiatives and things relating to community, there are so many things that growth is focused on outside of just value through membership. So going to pull it out because it seems like it might not resonate with all of the things going on. If anyone misses it, let me know, but this is full experimentation, and that's why we always change things up. As far as financials go, we're at 113,000 of recognized revenue and 624 for the month. As far as weekly active users, we dropped down a little bit to 4,300, but food logging is up. 60% of those weekly actives are logging food. And that is, I think it's 49, just about 50,000 food logs. Last week it was around 46,000. So cool to see that metric go up. That is possibly a byproduct of this email campaign that we sent. So Braden helped to set everything up, and we sent out this campaign that said, hey, food logging helps you to achieve your goals. Here's a story about Betsy McLaughlin, a member who used food logging to help her achieve her goals of weight loss. And so the call to action is, hey, can you help us, help the community? The more you log food, the better it is for everyone, because we get this data set that we can do all these interesting things with to provide content and very cool things. So the campaign it went to a small number of people, but very high open rate, 72%. Click-through is on Betsy's on the links at the bottom, but cool to see how that has come into play. Back to, let's see, weekly metrics. Let's go into slideshow mode. Total email signups were at 225,000, and all-time annual memberships were at just about 8,200. So up and to the right on all those metrics, of course, because those will always be up and to the right until we get to a point where annual memberships start to possibly churn, given the timeline of when people first signed up. So that's it as far as slides. As far as did a think week this week and dug into some memos. This was one of them. Thoughts about 10xing digital content at levels. And there was somewhat of a silly revelation, and it's all around the idea of YouTube being a search engine, being a content distribution platform, and how it's underserved as far as somewhat of almost like an SEO play. When you look at search and you search for certain terms like metabolic health, metabolic syndrome, glucose monitoring, insulin resistance, there's almost no content. So as compared to web, we treat the blog with a ton of diligence. We're very tactical about the types of content that we put out. Whereas on YouTube, there's this huge opportunity to own those terms. This is an incognito search for metabolic health, and you can see the content that comes up is either our content or our advisor. So David Perlmutter, there's some with Bickman. It's either our content, Mark Hyman. There's a ton, but the more we can double down on treating YouTube as a platform in the same way that we treat the blog, the more of an opportunity there is to really own an audience there, because essentially it is a perennial search engine, and content can be 15 years old there and it's still going to be relevant in some way, shape, or form. So anyway, very fun memo to dig into, and productive think week, really fun. Levels wise, as far as carve outs, been working over the past, I guess it's many weeks, probably a couple of months, on all the work that's going into the blog redesign with Haney and Alan. And there's a ton of iterative feedback that we're giving Captivate, the agency that is implementing the blog. Haney's running point on everything. And it's been so cool to watch it evolve, because we haven't had one sync meeting and we just send a loom back and forth here and there and say, hey, what about this, and this? So it's been really fun to work on that with them and just do it in a completely asynchronous fashion and see the project move forward significantly from where it started. So really hyped on that. As far as personal carve-outs, when we ended up going to the planetarium, we did it last weekend instead of the weekend before, but ended up going there, and it was one of those mind-boggling things, because Theo had started to point out all these star constellations. He's like, hey, there's Orion, there's Pisces. And I was like, who's this guy? And it was one of those revelations that he's becoming like a little human. Like, he's learning all these things that we didn't teach him. And it was, I don't know, it's one of those like proud parent moments where it was very cool to see. But I was like, how did you learn this stuff? Where did you get this from? But kids will find their own way into knowledge, whether it's through school or through the internet. So anyway, that is it. Those are the carve outs, and hope everyone had a great week. That is it.
Great update. Thank you, Ben. All right, Tony.
Thanks, Josh. So growth theme of the week is a couple of experiments, visual experiment and video experiment. Briefly touched on this last week. We recently had our first photo shoot that was an async pre-production. So there was literally, low lift from our end on this. I just provided a Notion doc to a Snapwire photographer just to see what we'd be able to accomplish. Brittany volunteered. We reached out to Brittany and she did the shoot with the photographer. So it's just the two of them. And we got some great assets this week back from the photographer. We definitely learned a lot for the future, that this is definitely very easily scalable, since all I provide in the Notion doc were just some do's and don'ts, along with some images from our brand guidelines. And the photographer was definitely able to run with that. We also learned a lot about what we can add to the doc to kind of finesse certain things that we don't want to do for the future. So I thank Stacy also for providing feedback on that as well. So we're going to continue to iterate on this Notion doc, and we're definitely going to continue to scale these visual efforts with more Snapwire photographers across the country to get more images with our members and affiliates and advisors. Next slide, please. You may have seen this on Threads. We're trying out an experiment that's a fully async production. So we record the question, you record the answer. So the topic I have is what's one thing that you avoid with your CGM? I also updated this doc with a few other questions of like, what things have you learned with your CGM? What was like the first time you got your CGM? What's the first thing you wanted to test out? What was that one food you wanted to try? We got 9 submissions so far as of this morning. If you haven't had a chance to record one, definitely feel free to upload it today. And then we're going to get started on cutting this down into a montage video next week to see how this will work out, since a lot of these interview kind of videos are definitely all sync production. So it'll be fun to see how we could do this async wise.
Awesome. Great initiatives here, Tony. Thank you for continuing to work on scaling. This is awesome. All right, over to Jackie.
Hey guys, I wanted to share a couple updates of new examples of ways that we're leveraging Athena partnerships wise. So 2 examples here. First, we realized a great way, and this came from advice from some peer brands, to understand which podcasts might be worth considering partnerships with would be to find out which podcasts out there have had longtime returning sponsors. So for example, if Element or Athletic Greens has been advertising on a health and wellness podcast consistently for the past several months, that's probably a strong signal that the ads are doing really well and that the host has a super strong relationship with their audience and they're getting great engagement. So Athena is going to be reviewing all top shows by category. We're going to start out with just health and wellness and see how it goes, and then maybe expand to other categories as well. And they'll be documenting sponsors of every episode over the past few months. And then from there, we'll look at patterns and determine if there are any new shows that we should potentially be targeting. So I'm really excited for this. And huge shout out to Joyce and the Athena team, by the way, for helping with all these. The Athena team is truly amazing. And then secondly, they're helping us scale our YouTube creator research. So specifically, there's 2 categories where we realize we don't have a great way to ensure that any new video that gets published that could be really relevant to levels that we're able to see it. So the first one would be comp brand reviews. So for example, if Whoop or Oura Ring has a product review that an influencer puts out that goes viral, we don't have a great way right now to identify that, and we definitely would want to know. And then similarly, if another creator shares a video documenting why they quit sugar or why they stopped drinking or some type of experimentation video like that would be really relevant to us, we would also want to know. So our goal with this is to know immediately when there's a new video in either of these categories that's relevant to us, that's gaining traction, so we can reach out to those creators and potentially collaborate with them. For that one, Athena is going to be doing monthly research across a variety of search terms across those categories to ensure that we're up to date with what's out there and that we're connecting with creators that we might want to partner with. And then next slide, I just have a quick update on the team podcast tour. So I think we've mentioned that this year we've been prioritizing just getting more team members on the podcast circuit, which I've been so pumped to see. So super excited about Lauren and Helena's first podcast going live recently. They were both featured on Espree Devora's Women in Tech podcast. You guys might remember Espree was on a Friday Forum guest a few weeks ago, actually. And then you can expect to see a bunch more features across team members in the coming months. So upcoming in the very near future, Lauren's going to be on the Blueprint podcast with Dr. Eric Quorum, and she'll be talking about metabolic health. And then Taylor will be discussing biological resilience on the Inspired Evolution podcast and Complete Human podcast. And then Jana, she's the host of the Complete Human podcast. She's a new affiliate as well. And I'm really excited about Taylor's new talking points on biological resilience. He's going to be talking about this on a bunch of new podcasts and experimenting and with these talking points, which are a little different from our typical ones, which are just more general metabolic health. So I'm really excited to see how that goes and see an experiment and understand the response. That's it for me.
Love it. I agree. New talking points are great. We've got a couple new angles, I think, that we're going to be getting through different personalities that we're getting out on the tour. This is great. Thank you, Jackie. Casey?
Oh, yes. So just a quick run through of our press from the past 2 months. So on the left, we've got, we had a Business Wire feature that was the announcement for Taylor and Lauren joining. So that was very exciting. Conscience Health did an article on why people without diabetes would use CGM. And we were also featured in Bullet Pitch. Next slide. We were featured again in Fit Insider, a piece in Snack Shot, and then a really awesome piece in Bicycling Magazine, which is definitely worth checking out. It was a full-length feature that was basically talking about the relationship between mental health and glucose. The writer had read our newsletter on how mind controls metabolism and was really inspired by it, and then did a lot of experiments looking at sort of more deeply on stress and her glucose responses and found some really interesting things. And so wrote about that. Next slide. Bobby Brown, who's a celebrity makeup artist, someone I loved when I was growing up. She's really interested in levels. And she just on their blog, we were featured in Well and Good and Innovator in Tech, and amazingly enough, made it onto a Valentine's Day gift roundup. So that's kind of amusing. Next slide. And most excitingly, we had this feature in the New York Times this week. This was a really great article about how AI-enabled nutrition advice is coming. Zoe, Day 2, and Levels was featured. We had a quote and a mention. The quote sort of got at the concept of multi-molecule and sort of the future of biological observability, talking about how glucose isn't everything for optimizing diet. And so, yeah, that's it for the last couple of months, but awesome to see some great big tier 1 press wins here with the New York Times again. I think this is at this point it's either our third or our fourth mention in the New York Times. So I think that's it.
Pretty wild. Thank you, Casey. Haney.
All right, 3 new pieces since last we spoke. A new Foods We Love continues to be a really nice department. We just went through with the Rebel team this week, like another 6 or 7 of these that are coming up. If you have suggestions on these, the origin of this column, of this idea, was me watching back in the day sort of Slack discussions and then thread discussions among the team, trading tips about like how to buy flaxseed or what to do with chia, and thinking, I need to capture this kind of internal knowledge that gets bandied about that is so far beyond what you get at Healthline or some other place, and put it out there. So just a way of saying that the inspiration for these definitely can come from team members, from our members. Please shoot me out any suggestions for foods that we should highlight in this column. Good 5 questions from John Parenti, who's the director of nutrition for Miami Dolphins. Always great to see these sort of professional, dietitians and nutritionists. It's a really interesting perspective listening to them talk about what they learned putting on the CGM. And John has some good points that, he learned a lot in school about glucose, but nothing like what he learned when he actually started looking at his own data. And then last, a piece here that was informed a lot by Rob's books, and has really performed well in the newsletter this week, and is one of our best performing lead stories in the newsletter about food additives that are banned in other countries, but allowed here. And it just allowed us to kind of get into some of the process and regulatory stuff. We want to do more articles in this space. We have a good piece out there about like why are food regulations so screwed up, and this is another way of getting at some of this kind of higher level process systems level stuff that we need to talk about if we want to move the needle beyond just like eat this food or do this thing. Some of the other stuff that's happening, a lot going on in the PR space. We put out a press release yesterday on the metabolic health panel. So that's announced now. It got picked up by Yahoo Finance, and should probably get some more picked up more today. We've had a lot of back and forth about when to announce the Series A and whether we should tie that to liftoff, which we originally are going to do, but have now in the last week or so, after more discussion, decided to just announce the Series A sooner. Just be great to get that information out there. It's such a great round and so many talking points that we can have around that we're going to try to do that release probably in mid-April. The blog redesign got mentioned. Really excited about this. As Ben mentioned, we have great feedback from both he and Alan. I'm going to put out a broader version of this for input before we finally launch probably this week. And then a bunch of great stories in the queue, some really good deep dives. We're diving back into COVID, perhaps a little late. We did a piece really early on in COVID about the glucose-COVID connection. But there's been some really interesting research lately about glucose in long COVID, about new onset diabetes from COVID. And so a new writer did a really nice deep dive into that piece. Some good servicey food pieces, what to order in the smoothie shop, what to buy in the store when you want grain-free granola that isn't going to spike you, how to build a better pizza, and then another deep dive into glucose and stroke. So that's it for content.
Lots of great stuff there. All right, so we're going to change up the individual contributions approach here. I'm actually going to stop my share. We're going to go to gallery mode. We're just going to go down the list instead of my old approach of trying to in real time manage who's here. So that puts me first according to my screen. So I'm going to go and I'm going to say I'm excited to have this move underway. I'm ready for it. We're at like peak disorganization in my life right now. Everything's hectic. I'm like wading through boxes. So I can't wait to get that underway, be on the road. I like driving. I'm going to have a 20-foot truck with a trailer with my Tacoma or my Tundra on the back of it. So it's going to be a fun convoy. So personally, that's what I'm looking forward to. Weather looks great in Austin. And professionally, just like continuing to grow the team and have like really exciting conversations about future of R&D, and have Zach back in action, back on the forums with us here. Just generally really appreciating the team and all of the firepower we've got. Andrew.
Yeah. So personally, it is starting mountain biking season. People right now call this mud season around here. And so I'm super excited about that, getting back on my bike. And professionally, I think a lot of our engineering process stuff and kind of the stuff behind the scenes is just incredibly exciting. A lot of changes, a lot of improvements as we scale up the team, and all of these become pretty big multipliers. So I'm excited about that.
Love it. Azur.
Hey guys, professionally, it's definitely getting to meet Casey in person, and then working with Taylor on the strategy doc and trying to learn how to make those arguments really clear and simple. And then personally, I guess Casey counts as that too, but up in Bend visiting the family, and still sore from that race, which went pretty well. So feeling good.
Congrats on the race. It's crazy. Braden.
Yeah, so I've taken a bit of a break from wearing CGM, so I'm excited to put a new one on and test out all the new internal features. And on the personal front, headed to Buenos Aires next week, so excited for that.
Amazing. Brett.
Work-wise, so logging is awesome. It was great. I mean, it was fun the first pass, but like me and Alan, Alan's like really great partner on that, and like it's getting like to where I think it's going to start shipping next week. I made a meeting with John, so like I just feel like great about getting the thing out there that I think will really like have impact and be fun. Personally, it's getting close to everything's melting. This is blasphemy to say up here, but like I'm done with snow. I shoveled 10 tons in 3 days. Once I'm just done. I'm ready to like go by the lake and stuff. It's like 70 out. And I'm just going, I'm gonna cardio it up this weekend and enjoy the nature. So those are my two.
Sounds perfect. Brittany.
Hi. I would say personally and professionally, they're both merged this week. One highlight has been, I've had two of my closest friends here in Santa Barbara are both using Levels now. And one is, a long distance runner, and he's just been texting me off the hook about just how his mind is blown about the different insights. And my other friend is getting value in other ways as well. So it really just put a big smile on my face throughout this week, and definitely like last night talking with them. So that was, big highlight for me. And then also just really excited for assemblage next week and going to Austin and meeting some of the team. Couldn't be more excited for that. So thank you.
Ditto. Casey.
So on the personal front, spent the last week moving to Bend. So drove from San Francisco up to Portland, moved my stuff to Bend, and just love it so much. It was so fun to see Azure yesterday. And I actually late last night flew back to San Francisco. So I'm going to be at my best friend's 35th birthday in Napa tomorrow, and then back up to Bend. And on the professional front, just so funny that the Stanford thing, actually came about fully from Levels. So the course director of that 2 years ago tried Levels, loved it, reached out. She brought me in to talk about Levels in her course, ended up moving to Korea to start the Stanford and Korea campus, and needed someone to fill in to basically run the course, and reached out. And so it's just like so full circle how this is all Levels, and really interested in having them, they're interested in basically introducing the students to wearable tech and all this stuff. So hope to loop in some of our advisors to guest lecture, and just love the full circle Levels connection to that. So
amazing. Chris.
On the level side, I was really excited about the updates from Tony and some of the asynchronous, whether it be the photo shoot with Brittany or the, what did you learn around just continuing to innovate across the teams around how do we scale, how do we do new things and challenge status quo. So hat tip to Tony for that front. Also super excited about assemblage and the meetup in Austin. Can't wait. I haven't been on a plane for a long time, so that will be different. On the personal side, because we're almost completely melted of the snow, I'm looking to order about 4 dump truck loads worth of gravel, because I've got a lot of mud on the farm and I need to start, redoing it. So that's going to be fun to like be moving gravel around like a kid with a Tonka toy again. So, all right, hashtag farm life.
Keep these updates going. Sissy.
Hey everyone. Personal, professional wrapped up in one. I spent a couple of days in Jackson this week and met up with Jinlu for lunch, which was really fun. I see she's with Ms. now, so she's traveling across to the East Coast or to the West Coast. We just missed each other. A lot of amazing work happening across the team this week. I'm excited for my first assemblage next week.
Yeah, I'm excited for assemblage too. Dan.
Hey, yeah. So on the work front, still just working through onboarding, and excited to experience my first assemblage next week as well. Personally, I'm headed up to Lake Arrowhead this weekend with family and friends.
Enjoy. Gabriel.
Yeah, so professionally, I'm gonna +1 the call out to Justin's performance improvement PR. I've just been looking at it and it looks awesome. Really excited about it. Personally, I'm gonna be bold and try and plant some plants this weekend. I think the weather is just maybe getting good enough here, so I'm gonna roll the dice on that.
Send it. How?
Yeah, level-wise, really grateful for all the content we have provided for both members and ourselves. All those podcasts, really amazing. Really need to catch up a lot, which I missed for the past like several dozen episodes, I think. Yeah, I'm way behind. And personally, I don't think my ski season ended yet. I will head back to the slope because we had a pretty good dump for the past week.
Wow, that's awesome. Ian.
After getting back into the swing of normal life from my backpacking trip a couple weeks ago, I have switched directly into pickleball tournament prep mode. The biggest tournament in Austin of the year is coming up at the end of next week. So that's the personal side. That's real exciting. On the professional side, right before that would be the assemblage. I'm also excited for that. Since starting, it's been real nice to just hang out in the place that I live, and you people just keep coming to this town. So looking forward to meeting all of you next week, some of you next week, and it should be a lot of fun.
Love it. Look forward to it. Jesse.
Yeah, it was really nice to take a week off and excited to be back in the swing of things. It's cool to explore Oaxaca with my sister and eat a bunch of really good food. And yeah, that's it.
Sounds so nice. Love these tales of traveling. John.
Levels wise, excited about the performance improvements in the app. Thank you everyone who reported the issue, and thanks Justin for jumping into that and fixing it so quick. Personally, I'm excited about my vacations in Mexico next month.
Nice. Justin.
Levels wise, traveling to Austin next week. So I have to get a COVID test before flying and figure out how I'm going to get one to come back to Canada as well. But that'll be fun next week. And personally, we've been rewatching HBO's like early 2000s show, 6 Feet Under. It's like the best show. It has the best ending. And yeah, loving going through that again. Recommend it for sure.
Haven't heard of it. Karen.
So levels wise, I'm super excited about the quality of the investors we have actually. I had a call with Jeff at A16Z this week, and I think it really highlights the difference between raising smart money and dumb money. So that's just awesome to know that we've got that kind of network to lean back on. And personally, the sun's out here as well. So I think I'm going to try and buy a new wakeboard just in time for the wake park opening in a few weeks' time.
Spring is here. Maxine.
Yeah, on the level side, also really excited for my first assemblage. Been really fun to be seeing and working on some of the Eng culture stuff and shipping. On the personal side, I got to see one of my older sisters last week, and that was so fun. It's fun to have adult siblings who are your friends.
Nice. Ms.
Yeah, a lot of great chats this week, and I think enjoying all the new additions, but also I think just got to connect with a lot of people one-on-one, which it's been a while. So very much enjoyed that. Very much looking forward to Austin assemblage next week. Good to have Jinlu here today and see her. And then on the personal side, going to a show tonight, a cool like chill band called Bahamas is playing at the Fillmore in San Francisco. I'm excited to get out.
Sounds great. Mike D.
Yeah, so I'll plug assemblage. I'll plug the Austin meetup. I'm pretty excited about those. Definitely team growth. And then there were a few messages and threads this week, just like highlighting or making sure that we prioritize like internal feedback and dog fooding, what we're putting out to members, which I think is super important. Personally, tomorrow I'm going to first concert in a little while. Love live music. I'm going to see Tame Impala, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Nice. Mike Haney.
On the professional side, I'm going to call out Chris's presentation today. The statistics make me happy. I love the deep dive into what folks are reading. I look at that a little bit, but it's always fun to see other perspectives on it. On the personal side, I'll keep the concert train going. I'm taking the boy to his first ever concert next week. We're going to go up to LA and see Dua Lipa at the Forum on Wednesday.
Nice. That's going to be a blast. Scott?
Work-wise, I'm still kind of on a high from seeing everybody in San Francisco and my bingo game taking a generational leap forward in that regard. Also, I'm really excited about people, I think, taking ownership of some bigger projects. So specifically, I think Maxine and Jeremy are biting off some big stuff. It's always good to just see people dive in headfirst and tendency toward action and wanting to get stuff shipped. I get a little bit of a better preview because I'm seeing all the plumbing getting laid behind the scenes before the sort of UI emerges. And so I'm excited about a lot of that stuff coming up. Personally, I need to go through, we did a bunch of baby plants with a grow light inside, and it's just like a mess right now. So I need to go trim some of those and maybe replant some of them. And then I get to do taxes this week. Should be fun.
Not fun. I noticed that I jumped over Rob. Rob, I think that has to do with the muting status or something to do with, I don't know, you were out of order. Sorry about that.
No problem. Haney, I'm very jealous about going to see Dua Lipa. She's, you know, about the only star I follow. I want to let everybody know a one-year project has come to fruition. There are going to be 3 articles in biochemical pharmacology on obesity and obesogens. And this ultimately does impact what we are going to be talking about at levels, because these are like the final stakes in the heart of a calorie is a calorie. And what you eat really makes a big difference. And also what stuff is packaged in also makes a very big difference. And you know, hopefully this will get a lot of airplay, and hopefully levels can sort of take this forward. Kind of excited about this. 43 scientists from around the world on these 3 obesity reviews, and they're very extensive. So hopefully we can make that happen. On personal side, I won't be on the call next week or the week after. Next week's my anniversary. The week after, I'm in Cancun.
Can't wait to read the papers. Congrats on the anniversary and Cancun.
Thanks.
Steph.
Levels wise, I am excited to see the improvements with the Now screen, and quick shout out to David and Mike. I was working on the common questions widget this week, and to go into Retool and see that all the story views and all the content had already been populated, it was just super nice to see the team kind of like fluidly working so well together and seeing things ramp up so quickly. And personally, this is kind of corny, but maybe some of you guys can relate. I found that when moving to a new place, and you know, especially with a remote job, and at least for me, my social skills regressed a lot during COVID. It's really hard to make friends as an adult. And I think like I was always expecting of, oh, you're going to move somewhere and it's just going to be organic like we are as kids, where you're in school and doing extracurriculars. And so this past week, I was like, I just need to put myself out there more. I need to get over this anxiety of being scared to show up to things alone. And I went to a rock climbing meetup on Tuesday, and it was so much fun. And the girl I got paired with climbing was, she runs a deep learning meetup in Denver. And so I went to that with her on Thursday, and it's just this awesome domino effect of like, when you do choose to kind of like do things that are uncomfortable and really scary, they pay off. And so I'm feeling on cloud 9 in the sense of just socially fulfilled. And yeah, hopefully that serves as inspiration for people to do things that scare you.
Love that reminder. Good work, Steph. Sunny.
Hello, I am taking some inspiration from Jinlu, actually. I'm not skiing well during the Friday Forum. I went and got a workout in. So that's kind of my personal and professional hybrid there of really cool that I get to still get the updates. But I do miss out on the chat. So I will say I miss out on the awesome chat conversation while doing this. And additionally, hybrid of personal, professional, excited for Assemblage next week, not only to see so many faces and meet so many folks, but also I, like Chris, have not been on an airplane and I love flying. So have a couple books, levels required reading, if you will, queued up and excited to read that.
Gym session during forum gets extra credit for sure. Tony.
Yeah,
Wait.
definitely. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, definitely
There you go.
+1 on the assemblage. Really excited for assemblage next week. +1 on team growth. That press update that Casey shared was insane. I have to say that. That was just amazing. I have to check out a lot of those articles too, especially the bicycling one, since I read a lot of bicycling in the past. Let's see, personal side, it is finally 70 degrees here in Jersey, and I'm literally gonna go right outside right after this call because I can't wait. And it's just, I feel like I've been waiting months for this weather. So excited.
I hear that. I'm going to jump to Zach.
Hey everyone, super excited to be back. Oh my gosh, there are so many new faces. That's also incredibly exciting. Just glad to be kind of digging in. I literally on this Friday forum discovered that a whole bunch of you are going to be in Austin. So you all just made my day and you'll make my week next week. Looking forward to see everyone.
Yes. All right, team. Well, we made it. Tried the new gallery style share. I think it worked, other than the fact that it's going to be kind of like a fixed order, but we'll make that happen. All right. Yes, +1. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the cafe if you're able to attend, and I will see you from Austin next week.